Look, this is exactly why people connect with Prince Harry. The guy wasn't standing off to the side doing the royal version of don't touch the merchandise. He was literally handing out barbecue plates. And honestly, that's the stuff regular people remember. Nobody goes home saying, wow, that speech had excellent bullet points. They go home saying, you're never going to believe who served me lunch today. That's the difference. A lot of famous people show up to events like they're speed running a meet and greet. Quick wave, quick photo, gone before the napkins hit the trash can. Harry looks like the guy who accidentally got recruited into the volunteer team and just rolled with it. Need plates moved? Cool. Need food served? Got it. That's why people were smiling, because the Warrior Games aren't about celebrities, they're about veterans and service members who've been through things most of us can't even imagine. The athletes are the stars, the families are the support crew, everyone else is there to lift them up. So when Harry jumps behind the serving table instead of acting like the main attraction, people notice. And let's be real for a second. In today's world, some folks spend more time managing their image than actually helping anybody. Every move feels rehearsed, every smile feels sponsored. This didn't feel like that. This felt like a guy remembering where the whole Invictus journey started and showing respect to the community that inspired it. The funniest part? A plate of barbecue probably created more goodwill than 100 polished press releases. This is why people rock with Prince Harry. The man didn't show up looking for the best camera angle. He didn't roll in, wave for 30 seconds, and disappear like a magician at a kid's birthday party. Nope, he grabbed plates and started serving barbecue. And honestly, that's real, because regular people don't connect with fancy titles. They connect with actions. Think about it. If somebody asks those families 10 years from now what they remember most, nobody is going to say the speech had excellent structure and compelling key points. Please, they're going to say, mate, Prince Harry served me lunch. That's the story, that's the memory, that's the thing that gets repeated at family gatherings for the next decade. What makes Harry different is that he doesn't just talk about service, he actually gets involved. He gets his hands dirty, he walks the walk. A lot of people love the spotlight. Harry seems to enjoy being with the people the spotlight is supposed to be shining on. Big difference. The Warrior Games are packed with incredible athletes, veterans, and families who have overcome challenges most of us can't even imagine. So seeing Harry jump in and help instead of acting like the main attraction, people notice that. And let's be honest, there are some public figures who wouldn't even carry their own water bottle. Harry's out here handing out barbecue plates. That's funny and refreshing at the same time. The whole thing felt less like a royal appearance and more like that cool guy at the neighborhood cookout who just happens to be a prince. No fuss, no drama, no look at me, just showing up and helping out. That's why people relate to him. He doesn't act like he's above everyone else, he acts like he's part of the team. And for the families standing in that lunch line, that probably meant more than any speech ever could. Because respect isn't always found on a stage. Sometimes it's standing behind a serving table saying, who's next? That's a prince, not because of the title, because of the attitude. You know what stood out to me? Harry didn't walk into the Warrior Games acting like the event had been put together for his grand entrance. He showed up like a guy asking, all right, what needs doing? That hits different because regular people can spot the difference between someone helping and someone posing from a mile away. We've all seen those appearances where somebody arrives, finds the nearest camera, does a few handshakes like they're completing side quests in a video game, and then vanishes before the coffee gets cold. This wasn't that. Harry wasn't hovering around waiting for applause. He was in the middle of the action, talking to people, serving food, getting involved. Simple stuff, but simple stuff matters. And honestly, that's why people responded to it. Nobody was looking at him thinking, wow, what an incredible photo opportunity. People were thinking, wait, he's actually helping. Funny how low the bar has become that doing the actual job surprises people, but here we are. The thing is, the Warrior Games don't need Harry to exist. The athletes are the heartbeat of the event. The veterans, the families, the support teams, they're the reason everyone is there. Harry seems to understand that. He wasn't trying to be the headline, he was backing the people who deserved the spotlight in the first place. And that's probably why so many people relate to him, because regular folks respect consistency. Anybody can show up once, anybody can make a speech, anybody can take a photo. The hard part is showing up again and again and again.
One thing you have to give Prince Harry credit for is that he keeps showing up. Not just for the glamorous events, not just for the big headlines, but for the people and causes he has spent years supporting. That's what stood out at the Warrior Games. He wasn't acting like the main attraction, he wasn't floating around waiting for applause. He looked like someone who genuinely wanted to be useful. And honestly, people can tell when that's real. Regular folks spend their lives dealing with people who promise everything and deliver nothing. We all know that co-worker who suddenly appears when it's time for the group photo, but vanishes when the chairs need stacking. Harry seems to do the opposite. He keeps returning to the veteran community because that's where his heart is. And here's the thing that makes this relatable. Most people aren't impressed by titles anymore. They're impressed by effort. They're impressed by someone who remembers names, listens to stories, and treats people like human beings instead of background scenery. That's why serving a barbecue lunch landed with so many people. It wasn't about food, it was about respect. It was about saying, I see you, you matter. Those little moments carry weight. A veteran, a spouse, a child standing in that line may forget a dozen speeches, but they'll remember a conversation that made them smile on a difficult day. That's how real connections work. They sneak up on you. No fireworks, no giant announcement, just a simple act that leaves people feeling better than they did 5 minutes earlier. And in a world where everybody seems busy building a personal brand, there is something refreshing about someone who keeps putting the focus back on the community he came to support. That's why Harry continues to connect with so many people. He doesn't just talk about service, he looks for ways to practice it. And whether he's launching projects, supporting veterans, encouraging adaptive athletes, or simply handing someone a plate of food, the message stays the same. Actions speak louder than headlines, and showing up still matters.
You know what's funny? These days, people make a huge deal about speeches, press releases, and perfectly staged photo ops. Meanwhile, the moments that actually stick are usually the simplest ones. That's why this Warrior Games story hit differently. Harry wasn't standing off to the side looking important. He wasn't doing that celebrity thing where someone arrives, waves for 3 minutes, takes 47 photos, and disappears like they've got a secret teleportation device. The guy was serving lunch, actual lunch, plates, food, conversations, the whole thing. And honestly, that's where the magic was. Because real people don't care how impressive somebody looks standing behind a podium. They care about how that person treats others when nobody's handing out awards. That's the true character test. Anybody can talk about helping, anybody can say they support a cause. The hard part is showing up and getting involved. No spotlight required, no grand entrance needed, just turning up and pitching in. What made this moment stand out wasn't that Harry was there, it was how he was there. He wasn't floating above everyone like some VIP attraction, he was right in the mix, talking, laughing, serving food, being useful. And trust me, families notice that stuff. People remember how you make them feel far longer than they remember what you said. Years from now, somebody isn't going to be saying, "Wow, I really enjoyed paragraph 3 of that speech." Nobody talks like that. They're going to say, "Remember when Prince Harry handed me a barbecue plate and stopped to chat?" That's the story, that's the memory, that's the thing that gets repeated at family gatherings for the next decade. Because service isn't standing on a stage telling people you care. Service is showing people you care. Sometimes it's not glamorous, sometimes it's not headline material, sometimes it's just standing next to a grill in Texas making sure everybody gets fed. And weirdly enough, those ordinary moments are often the ones that mean the most. That's why this resonated, not because it was flashy, because it wasn't. It felt real. And in a world where so many people are busy trying to look important, there's something refreshing about someone who's more interested in being helpful. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm your host, Miles, and if you enjoyed today's Royal Tea, Royal Barbecue, and Royal Reality Check, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss the next juicy update. And hey, if you'd like to support the channel and unlock exclusive perks, click that join button and become a channel member today. Until next time, stay curious, stay fabulous, and remember, sometimes the biggest headlines start with a plate of barbecue. See you in the next one.